So we have some interesting news from the world of Peaky Blinders. As fans of the show will know, the series wrapped up in 2022 and it was envisioned to end with a movie. That movie is now here, called Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, and at the time of the making of this video, we're just a few days away from the release of the film. The show's creator, Stephen Knight, has spoken about continuing the Peaky Blinders beyond the film. And one thing I speculated in my review of the film's trailer was that, given the main character Tommy Shelby has a son Duke in the film, played by Barry Keoghan, that maybe Keoghan would headline a new series, a spin-off from the original series, continuing the story of the Peaky Blinders post-World War II. And it appears this is actually happening. And not only that, it's already started filming. Production recently started in the English city of Stoke-on-Trent, where film crews have been spotted transforming streets into a 1950s setting for the new show. The filming took place around the area of Birmingham, which is known for its historic architecture and older buildings that work perfectly for recreating post-war Britain. Photos from the set show classic cars, vintage clothing, and period set dressing being used to bring the streets back to life as they would have looked in the early 1950s. This new series is set to take place in 1953, which means the story is jumping forward several years from where the original Peaky Blinders ended. The original show followed the Shelby family through the aftermath of World War I and into the turbulent political and criminal landscape of the 1920s and 1930s. By the end of the sixth season, the world around the Shelby Empire had already changed dramatically, with rising fascism, political corruption, and international conflicts beginning to reshape Britain. But the new sequel series is moving the timeline forward into an entirely different era. By 1953, Britain had already gone through World War II, and many cities across the country were still rebuilding after the devastation caused by bombing during the war. Birmingham, which is the heart of the Peaky Blinders story, had been heavily damaged and was undergoing major reconstruction projects throughout the late 1940s and early 1950s. And according to early reports about the new series, that rebuilding effort is going to play a major role in the story. Huge amounts of money and influence were involved in rebuilding the country's cities after the war, and wherever there is money, power struggles are never far behind. The new show is expected to explore the criminal and political battles that emerge as different groups fight for control over these reconstruction contracts and the future of the city. Several actors have already been spotted filming scenes for the production, including Cal O'Driscoll, Fintan Shevlin, and Jacob Wright. While details about their characters haven't been officially yet revealed, their presence suggests that the story may follow a new generation stepping into the criminal world that the Shelby family once dominated. It's set to be 2 seasons, each with 6 episodes and each an hour long. One production listing company called the project Peaky 1954, and the synopsis is as follows. The 2 new 6-part hour-long sequels will follow on from the Peaky Blinders movie. Britain, 1953. After being heavily bombed in World War II, Birmingham is rebuilding a better future out of concrete and steel. In a new era of Stephen Knight's Peaky Blinders, the race to own Birmingham's massive reconstruction project becomes a brutal contest of mythical dimensions. This is a city of unprecedented opportunity and danger, with the Shelby family right at its blood-soaked heart. Stephen Knight has previously spoken about expanding the Peaky Blinders universe beyond the original show, and this sequel series is clearly part of that larger plan. Of course, before this new series arrives, there is still the upcoming Peaky Blinders film to consider. The movie, titled The Immortal Man, serves as a continuation of the original series and brings back Cillian Murphy as Tommy Shelby. The film essentially acts as a bridge between the original story and whatever comes next in the Peaky Blinders universe. There doesn't seem to be any indication that Cillian Murphy will be in the series, which would suggest that he might get killed off in the film, which tracks with what I said in my review of the trailer, that the Immortal Man title implies Tommy will die and become some kind of undying underworld mythical symbol, with his son continuing the Peaky Blinders legacy. Of course, it could be that Cillian Murphy's role, if there is one, is being kept a surprise, or maybe he could appear in flashbacks later on in the series. For what it's worth, Murphy is involved in the project, but as an executive producer. Whether Tommy Shelby returns in person or remains more of a legendary figure from the past is still something we'll have to wait and see, Personally, I think they should have put off announcing this new series till after the release of the film. As the way I see it, a new Peaky Blinders series without Cillian Murphy is a dead giveaway that he's gonna snuff it in the film. I mean, to be fair, I'm not even sure if the series has been officially announced. Maybe they did plan to keep it under wraps until after the film comes out, but it seems all of these filming photos have given the game away. Another interesting aspect of the new series is the time period itself. The 1950s is a very different world compared to the era shown in the original Peaky Blinders series. By this point, organised crime had evolved, politics had changed, and Britain was entering a more modern age. Technology, culture, and society were all shifting rapidly, which creates a completely new environment for criminal organisations to operate in. The gritty industrial streets and smoky pubs that defined the early seasons of Peaky Blinders will still exist, but the wider world around them will feel different. Post-war Britain was dealing with economic recovery, social change, and new global tensions during the early Cold War. All of these factors could play a role in shaping the conflicts and stories that unfold in the new show. As for when fans can expect to actually watch the series, well, it's still very early in production. Filming only just began in March 2026, which means the show likely won't arrive until sometime in 2027 if the production schedule follows a typical timeline. But the fact that the cameras are now rolling means the next era of the Peaky Blinders story is officially underway. For fans of the original series who are itching for more, that's a pretty exciting development. Could Barry Keoghan carry a new series as the lead? I know he rubs a lot of people up the wrong way, probably because he tends to play weirdos, like in The Killing of a Sacred Deer, but I think he can give a great performance. A more alarming issue with the actor for me is actually that he's clearly had work done to his face. Maybe buccal fat removal, which, aside from looking really creepy and unnecessary, could potentially give off an anachronistic and uncanny valley effect. The idea of seeing a guy who's, to all intents and purposes, had plastic surgery done to his face headlining a show set in the 1950s. The Shelby family story may have reached a major turning point at the end of the original show, but the world that Stephen Knight created clearly still has plenty of stories left to tell, what with him introducing new characters in the final 2 seasons. With a new generation, a completely different time period, and the possibility of familiar names still influencing the story, the Peaky Blinders universe looks like it's far from finished. What do you make of this new series? Are you looking forward to it? Or do you think they're milking it and they should have stopped at the movie? Let me know in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel and thanks for watching.